Ravi was born in a small village where the sun burned the earth dry and hopes died faster than crops. His father worked in the fields. His hands cracked like the soil, and his mother washed clothes for the rich families in town. They lived in a hut with a roof that leaked when it rained and walls that shook when the wind blew. Ravi's only escape was school. He walked 2 hours each day to a one-room building where a tired teacher taught math and science to children who rarely stayed past the age of 10. But Ravi stayed. He sat at the front, his notebook filled with notes written in pencil nubs. At night, he studied under a flickering oil lamp, his eyes straining as his mother stitched clothes beside him. "You'll be someone," she'd whisper. "You'll make us proud." When Ravi turned 15, his father died. The doctors called it exhaustion, but everyone knew it was poverty. Ravi's mother sold her wedding necklace to pay for the funeral. After that, the neighbors started talking. "Why is he still studying?" they'd say. "He should work, be a man." Boys his age hauled bricks or drove rickshaws, their backs bent under the weight of survival. But Ravi's mother refused to let him quit. She took on more work, her hands raw from scrubbing floors. Ravi swallowed his guilt and studied harder. At 18, Ravi scored high enough on an exam to win a scholarship to a college in the city. The village laughed. "A farmer's son in a university? They'll eat him alive," they sneered. On the day he left, his mother handed him a bundle of roti and a jar of pickles. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was firm. "Don't look back," she said. The city was a monster. Skyscrapers loomed like giants, and the streets choked with noise. Ravi's college was a grand building of marble and glass. He walked in wearing his only pair of shoes, patched at the toes. The other students stared. They wore crisp shirts and polished watches, their laughter sharp as knives. In class, when Ravi raised his hand to answer a question, a boy muttered, "Street rat." The professor glanced at Ravi's worn clothes and sighed, as if his presence was a burden. Ravi's scholarship covered tuition, but not food or rent. He rented a tiny room near the train tracks, its walls stained with mold. At night, rats scurried over his feet as he read textbooks from the library. To earn money, he cleaned floors at a tea shop before dawn. The owner, a fat man with a greasy mustache, paid him half the normal wage. "You should be grateful," he'd say, tossing coins onto the dirty floor. Months passed, but Ravi's grades began to slip. He was always tired, his stomach growling through lectures. One day, the scholarship office called him in. A man in a stiff suit frowned at Ravi's paperwork. "Your grades are too low," he said. "We're cutting your funding," Ravi begged, his voice shaking. "Please, I'll study harder. Give me time." The man shrugged. "This isn't a charity." That night, Ravi sat on the floor of his room, clutching the rejection letter. His mother's last letter was in his lap. "Don't give up," she'd written. But how? He had no money, no friends. The college had turned its back on him. Desperate, he went to the tea shop owner and asked for a loan. The man laughed. "You'll never pay it back." Ravi began selling his books. One by one, his treasured textbooks, physics, chemistry, literature, were traded for bags of rice and bus fare. He stopped attending classes, too ashamed to face the professors. Instead, he wandered the streets, picking up odd jobs. He carried sacks of grain at the market, his shoulders bleeding under the weight. At night, he wrote letters to his mother, lying. "I'm doing well. The teachers are kind." One rainy evening, as Ravi mopped the tea shop floor, an old man in a faded coat walked in. He watched Ravi silently, his eyes sharp behind thick glasses. When Ravi stumbled, exhausted, the man spoke. "You're the boy from the college, aren't you?" Ravi froze. The man introduced himself as Professor Joshi, retired. "I've seen you in the library," he said. "Why did you stop coming?" Ravi crumbled. He told the professor everything: the scholarship, the hunger, the shame. Professor Joshi listened, his face grave. The next morning, he arrived at Ravi's room with a bag of groceries and a box of books. "You'll study with me," he said, "for free." For months, Professor Joshi taught Ravi in the evenings, his small apartment cluttered with papers and ink pots. He gave Ravi old clothes and shared his meals. Slowly, Ravi's confidence returned. He reapplied to the college, writing a pleading letter to the dean. To his shock, they let him back in on probation. "One slip," the dean warned, "and you're out." Ravi graduated at the top of his class. His mother traveled to the city, her sari threadbare but her smile radiant. She hugged him as the crowd clapped politely, avoiding her calloused hands. Ravi got a job at a tech company, his salary more money than his family had ever seen. He bought his mother a house, sent his siblings to school, and donated books to the village children.